50 years in business, the largest sailboat builder in America. In October 2025, a court forced its owner out of the factory. And earlier that same year, another legendary builder shut its doors for good. Those two builders are Catalina Yachts and Compact Yachts. Between them, that is over 100 years of American sailboat history. In the next few minutes, you will learn exactly what happened to each one. You will see the numbers pushing the entire industry toward collapse. You will find out which builders are actually finding a way to survive. And if you own or want to buy a Catalina or a Com-Pac, this affects you directly. You will learn what it means for parts, for support, and for resale value. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. You're watching Sailboat Insider. I'm Alex. Let's get into it. Let's start with the quieter story, because it explains everything else that follows. Compact Yachts was part of the Hutchins Company, founded in Clearwater, Florida, back in 1957. The family didn't start building sailboats right away. Boats under the Compact name didn't launch until the 1970s. For decades, this stayed a small, family-run builder of trailerable sailboats. Their most famous model, the Compact 16, became a fixture on lakes and coastlines across the country. Later came the Compact 19 and the Compact 23, aimed at sailors who wanted something bigger but still easy to tow. Two brothers, Jerry and Richard Hutchins, eventually ran the company together. Then, in February 2025, Jerry Hutchins passed away. His brother Richard was already retired by then. There was no succession plan waiting in the wings. On May 1st, 2025, Compact Yachts closed its doors for good. No bankruptcy filing made headlines. No dramatic lawsuit followed. A family business simply ran out of family to run it. Now compare that to Catalina. Catalina Yachts was founded in 1969 by a man named Frank Butler. Over the next 5 decades, it grew into the largest builder of mid-size sailboats in the country. By some counts, Catalina built more than 85,000 boats over its history. If you've ever stepped onto a used sailboat in America, there's a good chance it was a Catalina. But the company's own leadership gap started years before the headlines did. Frank Butler passed away in 2020. Not long after, Catalina's longtime chief designer retired as well. The people who built the company over 5 decades were already gone. In May 2025, Catalina and its parent company were sold to Michael Reardon, owner of Daedalus Yachts. The new owner promised fresh investment and a new chapter for the brand. 5 months later, that promise fell apart in public. By the time October rolled around, employees were reporting missed paychecks going back more than 5 weeks. Health insurance had reportedly been canceled. Then came the part that actually made headlines. A Florida court evicted the new owner from Catalina's own factory in Largo. The reason was simple: unpaid rent. Catalina's own president admitted the company needed a fresh injection of capital just to survive. So here is what you actually have. One builder that quietly ran out of family, another that ran out of leadership, then ran out of money in a very public legal fight. 2 very different stories. Same year, same industry. But losing 2 builders in 1 year is not really about 2 companies. It's about a math problem the entire industry is now being forced to face. Here's the uncomfortable number nobody in the industry likes to say out loud. New sailboats are selling in the United States at a rate of only 700 to 800 boats a year. Compare that to new powerboats. In 2024 alone, buyers picked up 168,000 of those. That is not a small gap. That is 2 completely different industries wearing the same life jacket. It gets worse. For every new sailboat sold in this country, 17 used sailboats change hands instead. The average sailboat over 25 feet on the water today is 34 years old. Think about what that means for a factory. You cannot run a modern production line on modern wages, not when the competition is a boat that is 34 years old and still doing the job fine. In the powerboat world, a handful of big companies now own most of the brands. Brunswick alone owns Sea Ray, Bayliner, Boston Whaler, and half a dozen more. That kind of scale spreads out the cost of running a factory. Sailboat builders never got that kind of scale. Most stayed small, family-owned, and built around 1 or 2 model lines. That worked fine for 50 years. It stopped working the moment the used market caught up. This is not new either. Beneteau saw it coming years ago. Back in 2020, the French builder closed its only sailboat factory in the United States, located in South Carolina. Production moved to France instead. Beneteau kept building powerboats in America because that market actually has the volume to support a factory. Com-Pac and Catalina were not undone by bad luck. They were undone by a market too small to support them. 700 boats a year cannot keep multiple factories alive. So if the math is this brutal, why are some builders still standing? It turns out survival here has almost nothing to do with size. Not every sailboat builder in America is struggling right now. A handful figured out the trick, and it has nothing to do with having deep pockets. Take J-boats. In 2025, they launched the J7, a 23-foot boat built specifically to lower the price of getting into the sport. Melges did something similar, rolling out a 19-foot boat aimed at simplifying rigging and cutting the cost of entry. Then there is Zero Innovation, a small builder out of Marine City, Michigan. They found early success with a compact sailboat called the SOL. That success led them to take over production of the Sunfish. They build it now using modern automated methods. The design itself is decades old, but the factory behind it is not. That is a much harder problem than writing a check. So what does this actually mean if you already own a Catalina or a Com-Pac? Or if you are shopping for one right now? There is a real risk here. Specialty parts and factory support can get harder to find once a builder goes quiet. That is worth checking before you buy, especially on less common models. But there is a flip side too. When a builder stops producing new boats, the existing fleet often holds its value better, not worse. Less new supply competing against it usually means a well-kept used boat gets to keep more of its price. This is not automatic, and it is not guaranteed. It depends on the specific model and how strong the owner community still is behind it. But it is not automatically bad news either. American sailboat manufacturing is not disappearing completely, but the list of builders standing at the end of this decade is going to be a lot shorter than the list from 10 years ago. For a buyer, that changes what actually matters when you are choosing a boat. A brand name is not a guarantee of anything. 50 years in business did not save Catalina. Family ownership did not save Com-Pac. What matters is the specific model, the community of owners still keeping it alive, and whether parts and support are still realistically findable, whether or not the original builder is still around. That is exactly why this channel exists. Not to chase brand names or nostalgia, but to help you work out which used sailboat is actually a smart buy, no matter what is happening to the company that built it. The used market is not going anywhere. If anything, stories like this one make it more important to get it right. In the next video, we are going deep on one company specifically, Catalina Yachts. How the largest sailboat builder in America ended up evicted from its own factory. If you want the full story behind that collapse, subscribe now so you do not miss it.